Hello, hello. Gregor Arturo here, and I'm going to talk about standing waves and how standing waves create this reality. So, I got a pair of my little accomplice Igor, my poi. He helps me figure out how this universe works through motion, because the two fundamental forms of energy is really inertia and impulse. Understanding how those two energies work. So this is. There we go. Okay? And so I'm going to show you how to create basic standing waves with poi. It's not too hard. Most of the poi is all about creating standing waves. And standing waves, when you have two opposing energies basically colliding in with each other and overlapping to create a stationary structure, essentially. So all energy is moving, but when you have opposing energies move against each other, it creates a stationary form of geometry, in simple sense. So, we got some poi, alright? Now, there's two black poi, where, two opposing energies, black and white, but really those two opposing energies are just different vectored forces. So, what I'm doing is I'm going to be stalling these back and forth in the exact same spot. But if you notice, what starts to happen, okay, is I'm building up energy in the poi. I'm storing kinetic energy in these poi, and they're twisting. See how they're twisting? Every time I go from one spot to the other, they flip-flop. They twist up one way, they twist the other way, back and forth, back and forth. And the more I do that, the more these twist up. The more these start doing some springy things. And you start to get some really interesting resistance that you feel as these start to form. But you're building up this standing wave. There's no net energy. There's no net energy going anywhere. But right here in front of me, I'm building a standing wave. You're seeing that exhibit in the poi, but I'm storing the energy in that twisting motion. That twisting motion is exactly the same thing as the magnetic field and what's going on, okay? To relate this to the triadic coil, okay, I've been working on this with friends. I'm going to be making a video to show how to do this in detail and what exactly happens when you manifest the triadic coil on the macro scale. So instead of making these little coil systems, all right, to power things, we're doing it with our bodies, okay? We're doing it with ourselves, with dance, with motion. Like, we're fucking doing it, okay? Like, in the simplest sense, you're doing it, I'm doing it, we all can do this, okay? It's just like saying, hey, this guy's some crazy psychic who has all these powers and can do these interesting little things like read your mind. But guess what? You can do it too. So, the important concept now is there's two forms of oscillation, okay? Form of oscillation that most people are familiar with is binary oscillation. What I just showed you is binary oscillation, okay? And you can build up a lot of energy. As you see, I just released that energy into the ceiling of the basement, okay? And you can have it build up between these two poi. However, there's another way to build this energy. This is the way you really get free energy, and that's a ternary oscillation, or triadic oscillation, however you want to call it. An oscillation based off 3 instead of 2, okay? Because the 2 is going backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. That's how alternating current works, okay? What we're going to be doing is impulse DC. And as an example, I always explain metaphorically the difference between the two, all right? With our own lives, a lot of people's lives run like AC, okay? There's good days, there's bad days, there's good days, there's bad days. However, that's not naturally how it wants to run. It wants to always run in the same direction. So that's impulse DC, okay? And so what you really want your days to be like, you want good days, and you want really good days, and then good days, and then really, really good days. You're always moving in a good direction, okay? We all want to move in a good direction. So we're going to do the same with our energy, okay? You want the energy moving forward. You don't want it moving backwards. So you move forward, then you move backwards, then you move forward, then you move backwards. But guess what? We're still in the same fucking oscillation. We're still in the same cycle. It happens in our lives every day, all day, okay? So we got to start, making big step, small step, big step, small step. We got to leave that. Goodbye. Goodbye, the little black void of endless cycles. We all get stuck in them. That's what our egos do. So let's show how we can make it move in more dynamic cycles, okay? And so a ternary oscillation, okay? Say I'm doing this is a forward weave, okay? And I want to turn this weave because this is 3 beats. You're getting 3 rotations here and how this spins. And so each one of these guys spins 3 full rotations to create what looks like 2 circles, okay? So there's 3 parts to create 2. Just like a hot and cold, there's a warm in the middle. It's the whole idea of, you know, triadic metaphysics. There's always a midpoint. So I'm doing a forward weave, all right? There's gonna be 2 spots behind me. So forward weave, reverse weave, forward weave, reverse weave. Now I'm back to the same spot again, but I'm in the opposite direction. I'm in a reverse direction. Then we go forward weave, reverse weave, forward weave, okay? Guess what? This is interesting in terms of physics. I just had to make a full 2 rotations, 720 degrees, to get back to my exact same position and starting place. Sounds familiar, a little bit like an electron, doesn't it? Okay? So now we're gonna make this a little bit smoother and more seamless, all right? And then what I'm sort of doing right here to think about is the whole concept in contact, where they take the 3 pieces of paper and bend them to make your one perspective, okay? We're sort of doing the same thing here, except we're taking this binary type of oscillation, which is usually forward, reverse, forward, forward, reverse, forward, okay? We're gonna make it triadic. When I make it triadic, something interesting starts to happen. Forward, reverse, forward, reverse, forward, reverse, forward, reverse, forward, reverse. Now, what starts to happen, okay, when I was just doing this, I start to store kinetic energy, okay? That kinetic energy starts to get stored in these points and they tangle up. The same thing happens in this rotation, okay? When I start to go from a forward to a reverse to a forward to reverse, and so now I'm just doing 1 rotation at every 120 degrees. So there's 3 full rotations, okay? I'm compacting all that energy. I'm storing that energy in this space. It's really big. You can take the Earth's magnetic field and trap it and funnel it into a vortex and let it build and build and build and build and build and build and build until possibly at gravitational node. It's up here. It starts to get bigger and bigger. And then I start to walk on air, and then I can't keep my own balance when I fall over. Okay? It's the same with the walls of Jericho, where the armies marched outside the days for 3 days. You're storing this kinetic energy, and it's building and it's building and it's building until bam, something happens. Well, that's ternary oscillation. Okay? You're creating a binary. It's the concept of a binary oscillation, but you're creating a feedback sequence. Okay? And this way you preserve the inertia, okay? Binary oscillations, you don't preserve that inertia. Why do bicycles work better than walking? Because you preserve the inertia. So all I gotta do is preserve the inertia. Right? It's very simple, okay? I have to preserve this inertia. I can start to lean in. We start to have a huge different type of gravitational effect going on with this very spot, okay? We can take advantage of all these forms of motion to create a dynamic system. And it's key is understanding how a standing wave works. We're just gonna build standing waves. You can do it with electromagnetics, you can do it with poi. You can do it with however you want. You can do it with sound. You just gotta figure out how to take the energy that's already here and organize it. It's all about organization. Organizing that energy in a specific type of motion. Let it build up, and then you can siphon it slowly off in the simplest sense. And by siphoning it, you can create to gear couple with something else, and that can couple with something else. They can create dynamic systems of resonance. It just, sky's the limit. So, think about that, okay? There's 2 fundamental forms of oscillation. There's a second kind that isn't really studied or a lot of people are aware of, and that's what creates, space, essentially. Or a different form of space. Because really when we get the binary, we're working in the first dimension. We're back and forth, back and forth. That's magnetism. When we start to get this ternary, we're starting to work in electricity. Okay? And then once you can take that type of oscillation to make it a dynamic oscillation, then we can start to get into space with light. And you throw in time, and we have our truly a running system. But let's understand how these oscillations create standing waves within the dimensions, and how standing waves allow energy to move in between and out of dimensions. Standing waves is key. And so, what I say, get some balloons, fill them with rice, put some socks on them, and start studying, start feeling how motion can move. How does everything move? Okay, we can theorize it, we can think about it, but feel it, okay? See how our universe moves. Play with gravity. See how this vector works. Being like, oh, it goes down. That's what Newton did. So like, start playing, just start playing, start feeling, start seeing how nature works. Well, Victor Schauberger did. He sat at the edge of a riverbed and looked at rivers and saw the stream going by and saw all the little vortices being made in the pools. Study nature. Study how you think. Study how your friends think in all these behaviors. Just observe. Observe and make connections. When you can start to make the connections, you can start to make systems that are dynamic, perpetual, and take hold of that inertia. Because that's what we're doing. Right now I'm taking hold of some positive, good inertia. I'm letting it build. I'm letting it build in this video until there's nothing more. It's just ready to explode. I have to say goodbye.